Welcome to the Wedding DJ School podcast. This is a podcast for creative thinkers, for those that love music and are curious about becoming a world-class wedding DJ and aspiring to run their own business. My name is Josh Mitchell. I am a wedding DJ and a creative professional, and this podcast really has one goal: to help you become a professional wedding DJ. We're going to talk about the systems that you need to be able to create your own independent business and create fantastic experiences over and over again, because that's what it is to have a business, to be able to create great results on repeat, to be able to take something and turn it into a system that creates things over and over again. And that doesn't mean they can't be creative and unique, but it just means that as a business owner, you have a process that allows you to do more than one event. So in other words, we're going to talk about the business side of things, not just the ideas and the techniques about DJing. There's a lot of great resources that are out there, and I want to continue reading and watching those myself. I want to encourage you to do the same thing. But here, we're going to talk about the bigger picture about what it is to be a business owner, what it means to be a creative professional. So before we go into the material for today's show, I just want to let you know what you can expect of this podcast in terms of schedule. We are going to release one episode every other Friday morning, and we're going to do 10 episodes for season 1. So season 1 is going to consist of 10 episodes that you can expect every other Friday morning. And in season 1, we're really going to focus on the high-level overview of what it means to be a wedding DJ. So really the baseline stuff, the foundation. So we've got a couple different mixed metaphors in there. I hope you'll just go with it. So if you're just listening for the first time, I want to also encourage you to check out our website, weddingdjschool.com, where there is a selection of resources to help you learn the business of being a wedding DJ. And this podcast is going to be really practical, really action-oriented, so that the things that you learn, you can put to use in your life and your own situation. So I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but you listen to a bunch of cool stuff, you learn something on YouTube or a podcast, and you're not actually in the frame of mind at that point to put it to use. You might be falling asleep listening to something, or you're driving listening to a podcast, and you're not in the place where you can actually apply that knowledge and put it to use. And by the time that you are in a good spot to be able to do that, the learning is starting to fade away. You forgot where it was in the episode that you heard that one thing. So I'm going to make this really easy for you. I want to kind of solve that problem for you by creating an action guide for each episode. It's going to be a PDF that you can download via email, and you can get that by going to weddingdjschool.com/podcast. You can also text in to 44222, and then in the message field, type wedding DJ as one word. So text wedding DJ to 44222. We'll ask for your email, and then we'll get that PDF over to you that way. And that's really what it is to have a value, is to take the information that you learn and to put it to use in your life. That's when something becomes valuable, when it becomes real to you. So I want that to be a goal of what you hear in the material of this podcast and everything that we talk about, that you can really use it, and that it's not just head knowledge, but that it becomes something that you can apply. All right, let's talk about today's material. I'm going to assume, if you're listening right now, that you are brand new to the wedding industry, you've never DJed a wedding before, and we're going to go off that as our assumption. And a good question to ask anytime we're trying to learn something new is, why does this exist? What is this for? What is the purpose? What is the function? And this is something that you can even apply to other things that you want to learn. Why does it exist? What is it for? That can help us to really go deeper into the material. So why does a wedding DJ exist? What is the wedding DJ for? I've got 4 answers, 4 things that we're going to go over. Number 1 is entertainment. Great wedding DJs just don't play music, they entertain. They create an experience for the guests. They fascinate the guests. They go out of their way to make the day fantastic. They create wow moments, and they energize the crowd. Now, I don't know if you've ever had this experience maybe at a restaurant where you go and you're expecting it to be decent. You're expecting there to be food that comes out in a reasonable amount of time, and your expectations are not met. You sit down and you're waiting forever, and you wind up leaving, and you're like, okay, yeah, it was passable, but your expectations really weren't met. And then you've probably had the middle of the road experience where, it's just, yeah, it was fine. It was mediocre. It met your needs. Wasn't the best meal in your life, but it wasn't the worst. There wasn't anything really wrong with it. But then we've all had experiences that are incredible, experiences that are wow experiences, where we expected this, this much, but then this was the experience. And that gap in between our expectations and our actual wow experience, that is the kind of gap that we want to go for as a great wedding DJ. Great wedding DJs that entertain live in this space. They go above and beyond. They just don't play a bunch of music for people, but they engage the crowd. They create an entertaining experience. They play great music that serves everyone, not just the couple and the bridal party, but the family and the guests that are there. They create just a sense of energy that they're excited to be there, and that there's a party, there's a celebration that's going on. And of course, that's going to be different for each and every wedding. But what we're going for here is that great wedding DJs just don't sit behind a laptop and press buttons. They are a part of the experience, and they're entertaining the crowd, creating an incredible moment. And of course, that means there's an element of creativity. If the job of a wedding DJ is a creative professional job, if we're in this creative professional realm, you've got to be able to bring that and entertain people, to get creative, to be unique, bring your personality to that event, and create a good time for everyone. And of course, there's some DJs that provide services beyond just the music. They might provide projection services, they might do photo booth, they might do other kinds of services. And that's why great wedding DJs are entertainers. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to start off by having a photo booth and all of those other things. I personally, in my own DJ business, I do not do photo booths. I've done a couple projection things here and there, but really my role is to be an entertainer, to create a great experience for everybody that's going to be at a wedding. So great wedding DJs just don't play music, they entertain. So that's number one. Number two, great wedding DJs are prepared planners. Great wedding DJs are prepared planners. Here's what I mean by that. Great wedding DJs are prepared. They know what they need. They know where it needs to go. They have all the appropriate cables. They have all the appropriate, decorations to make that happen. Things like a facade or the table scrim or the speaker scrims, whatever they're using in that context. But they also have planned out the day. They've talked through the timeline. They know what songs they need for each and every event. They have all that stuff backed up. So great wedding DJs are prepared. They know what they need, where it needs to go, how it's all going to be set up, and they've planned the day with the couple. They've talked through the transitions. They know how the order of service is going to go for the ceremony if they're providing support for that. They know the order of the reception and how that's all going to work. And they play a role of planner involved in that. And it's just a reality in the business of wedding DJing that oftentimes the wedding DJ kind of steps in as a coordinator. And even if you're not an official wedding coordinator, you are playing the role of coordinating different things. And you're letting people know those things over the microphone as an MC. You're working with the couple to make sure the flow of the day is specific and what they want. Great wedding DJs just don't show up and wing it with whatever songs they have on their computer. They get to know the couple a little bit. They get to know the crowd that's going to be there, and they have music that's going to serve that event. And especially those special songs, the parent songs, any specific songs, all that stuff is backed up. They have it in organized folders, and they have planned out the day. They have a concept of how it's going to go in their head, and they make it happen. And a couple does not just pay the DJ to show up on wedding day with some speakers and their computer and to make it happen. You pay a wedding DJ to be a part of the planning process. And that's a part of what you're getting paid for, is all the planning and expertise that goes into making sure that the day is going to happen in an organized fashion. Now, I like to say, you don't have to be an insanely organized person to be a great wedding DJ, but you need to know how to get organized. I'll say it again. You don't have to be an insanely organized person to be a great wedding DJ, but you need to know how to get organized. So I don't care how messy your room or office is, but do you know how to get it under control if you needed to? I don't care if you know how a wedding is going to go, but do you know how to get an event planned and organized and to create a document that has a timeline? Can you get organized if you needed to? And that's what a wedding DJ is able to do. They can organize the thoughts, they can organize the information, and they can then prepare their equipment and everything that they're going to need in order to pull that off. So great wedding DJs are prepared planners. Let's move to number 3. Performance. A great wedding DJ is a performer. A great wedding DJ is a performer. And what this means is that you're able to work well under pressure. There's an element of show when it comes to being a wedding DJ. I love that Disney uses the terminology for a lot of their cast. They don't call them employees. They call their members cast members. They say, we are putting on a show each and every day, and all the employees are the cast members of that show. And when you're on stage at a wedding, you're on stage from the moment that the first guest guest gets there until you leave at the end of the day, you are on stage and you're creating an experience. You're creating a show. And to do that, you are performing. You do that when you're on microphone. You do that how you conduct yourself when you're walking around and setting up your equipment. You are putting on a show. And I don't know if you're a musician or if you ever played the recorder in elementary school, or maybe you played a musical instrument in the past. You can practice for hours, and practice is important. You should practice. One little side note on practice. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So you don't want to have imperfect practice when you're working on music or when you're working on DJ stuff. You want to practice things perfectly so that when you actually show up to perform, you can pull it off exactly how you practiced. But I don't know if you ever had that experience where you practice something for hours and hours and hours, and then you show up in front of everybody and you're not able to deliver it. I don't know if it's the butterflies in the stomach or just something goes off in your head and you're not able to bring it in the moment. I think all performers have had a flop. They've had that experience where they're in front of a group of people and they just freeze up and they don't know what to do. A great wedding DJ is a performer. A great wedding DJ is able to silence that fearful voice in the back of their head and is able to create an awesome moment anyway. We all experience a little bit of butterflies. We all experience a little bit of stage fright, so to speak. But what a great wedding DJ knows how to do is to really perform, to really bring it when they need to be able to operate under pressure, to be able to deliver and to execute. The stakes are high at a wedding. Everybody is looking at the couple, and it's a very special moment. People are filming it. You only get one chance to get it right. So a wedding DJ needs to be able to perform. Even if you consider yourself an introvert, you have to have the ability to put on your game face and make a great event happen regardless of the other circumstances that are happening. There might be something going on over in the kitchen that is distracting. You've still got to be able to perform and be able to make it happen. There might be an issue that happens with a guest and a family member. You still have to be able to perform. One of your pieces of equipment might fail. You still need to be able to perform. I love this quote from F. Scott Fitzgerald, the author of The Great Gatsby. He says, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function." The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time, yet still retain the ability to function. And what that means is, as a DJ, you might be looking at your computer screen and realize, I don't have the right song up right now, while you're announcing something. And you've got that one thought in your head, but you're also speaking and performing in that same moment. And you've got to be able to adjust the equipment, adjust any of the circumstances to still pull off a fantastic experience. So being able to hold two opposed thoughts in your mind and still be able to perform, as F. Scott Fitzgerald has said, is what it means to have that first-rate intelligence, to be able to perform, to be able to bring it. So that's number 3. Number 4 is leadership. Great wedding DJs are intentional leaders. I believe in leadership and first and foremost, great self-leadership. Great wedding DJs lead themselves first. They are researching, they're growing, they're learning, they're improving their setup and how their equipment works, but you're aware of your strengths and weaknesses. You know your own personal limitations with how you're able to handle something. You know your equipment's limitations, and you lead yourself first. You're able to coach yourself. You're able to talk to yourself, pep yourself up when you need it, and know the limitations of what you're able to accomplish. There's also an element of leadership when working with your clients and working with the couple, where you're guiding them to a certain decision, not necessarily telling them here's how it's going to be, but you're leading them. You're helping them to achieve a great result. So there's a lot of leadership that goes into working with the client or the couple. Sometimes you have to work with a coordinator, somebody that thinks they know what they're talking about, and you've just got to work with them anyway. And you have to lead when you're not in charge, and you have to still pull off a great event even when you're not the one who's calling all the shots. So there's an element of managing your influence, managing your ability to pull off a great event and have a great reputation and what that experience is going to be like. Leadership is very important. And then last, to be able to lead all the guests at the wedding, to be able to let them know how things are happening, to be able to give them clear and concise directions about how the wedding is going to go. So great wedding DJs are intentional leaders. Now, before we wrap up today's show, I want to talk about this word wedding DJ for a second, and let's break it down and let's talk about those two different terms there. We've got wedding and DJ. And of course, yeah, we hear this. We have a mental picture of what a wedding DJ is in our head, but let's go a little bit deeper. Let's talk about that a little bit more specifically. Part one is wedding. Wedding DJs know a lot about weddings. They know about how weddings work, about how weddings function. And I don't know where you're at right now in your journey, but one thing that you can do is you can begin right now to learn about weddings. One way to do that is to watch movies. A lot of great movies out there that have weddings in them, like a movie like Wedding Crashers or even The Wedding Singer. I don't care what you think about those movies, watch them anyway. And here's why. There's cliches in movies for a reason. It's because they're based on people's real experiences. They're based on how the world really works. And there's been so many times where I've been at a wedding and I'm like, I've seen this in a movie before, because a lot of the natural things that happen at a regular wedding have been captured in movies. And of course, yeah, it's Hollywood and it's kind of a little bit more glamorous than real life, but they get it pretty close. So I want to encourage you to watch some of these movies because it's going to familiarize yourself with what happens at a wedding, with what is expected at a wedding. And there's other ways that you can learn about weddings as well. You can attend a wedding as a guest, and next time you're invited, be very aware of everything that's happening. Look at the DJ, look at how the flow of the day is going, and really just focus your mind on how the wedding day is happening and all the different moving pieces there. You can read books on the topic, a lot of great books on Amazon. Just Google or search for wedding DJ, and you'll find books that way. There's also a lot of great stuff on YouTube. There's been some great DJs that have put up some gig vlogs, as they're called, and you're able to walk through and kind of watch them, how they set up their equipment, how they execute the day. You can also look into shadowing a DJ. Maybe there's a DJ in your community that would be willing to bring you along as a helper to load in equipment and to make things happen. You can experience it firsthand that way. Another strategy is you can work at a wedding. Maybe you can work for a catering company for a season, or maybe you can help out a photographer or another vendor that needs a lending hand. And by doing that, you're going to get a sense for how the flow of the day goes. But wedding DJs know a lot about weddings because they've been to a lot of weddings. So I would encourage you, if you're just getting into this business, go wedding crazy and start learning about weddings. This is a very interesting business, and there's a lot of different moving parts and a lot of resources out there to help you learn the business of weddings in general. But then we've got the second part of that term, wedding DJ, the DJ part, the disc jockey part. And the DJ is really about creating entertainment. We talked about that earlier. The DJ knows music, but they know how to change that music up depending on how people are responding. And a great DJ doesn't just play their own preferences. They play music that's going to energize the crowd, that's going to make people keep dancing or create the emotion that the event is going for. So I would encourage you, if you're just getting into this business, to DJ as many events as you can and to get out there and just start DJing stuff. You will learn as you go. But we are living in an incredible time where you can start to learn about the music that energizes people very easily. You can search in Spotify top wedding songs and other terms that are like that, wedding dance songs, wedding playlist, and you will find playlists, look under the playlist section, you will find lists of music that are typically played at weddings. You can also Google it and look on the knot.com, look on Wedding Wire, other websites that have blogs from the wedding perspective. DJ Intelligence puts out a list every year of the top songs from each of the decades and different genres. And I would encourage you to expose yourself to these lists of music. Listen to these while you're driving, while you're working, while you're doing anytime that you can have music plugged in. Start to familiarize yourself with these popular songs. They're popular for a reason. They create an emotion and they create an experience. So the songs that are on these lists, you might look at them and you might, roll your eyes and say, yeah, I don't want to listen to that stuff. You've got to know how these songs work, though. You've got to know the different parts of these songs so that you can, as a DJ, be able to cue them up and create a fun experience for people. And a lot of these great wedding songs will work at other events as well. So I'd encourage you, think about family events that you could play. Think about semi-formal events that you could DJ and learn the practice of being a good DJ, about being able to mix those songs and know about the different genres from different decades. I even encourage you to look at the different decades over the years and know at least 25 of the songs from each of those decades, so that if you go into a 70s vibe, you're able to stay there for a little while. If you go into an 80s vibe, you've got that down as well. And DJ as many events in public as you can, both for free and for paid. Being able to perform in public goes to that fact that we talked about earlier about being able to perform. So you're familiar with the process of setting up your equipment, troubleshooting, getting the music going, that essence of performing. So you can do that for free. You can also do that for paid. I would encourage you, if you're just starting off, just start doing it. Action is going to be more important than just thinking and planning. You want to get out there and just start DJing real events and do that for whatever you can in your community. I'll talk more about the different options that are available. Actually, I think I have an article on weddingdjschool.com. You can search for that. Just search for free gigs, and there's a list of options that you can think about there. One more thought as we close here today. The sad truth is, people pay bad DJs every weekend to DJ weddings. There are a lot of bad wedding DJs in the universe. They cause frustration, they cause chaos, they cause horror stories, and it's all because they have this name attached to their, or this label attached to their name of I'm a wedding DJ. On the other hand, there are a lot of great wedding DJs that are out there that exist to serve people well, create great memories, and to entertain people. They get out of the way and they let the spotlight go on the family. They create an awesome experience for the guests and the happy couple. So here's an opportunity. You can choose to sit and do nothing, or you can decide to take this on as a project. You can decide to become a wedding DJ, to turn this into a business, an outlet to connect with people, earn trust, and create a business, create a real business. The goal of Wedding DJ School is to create more and better wedding DJs. So if you're curious about this wedding DJ industry, if you're curious about getting started doing this kind of thing, aspiring to be a DJ, you're going to be in the right place here. I want to encourage you to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple or Stitcher or whatever you use to listen to podcasts. And also you can get the action guide from today's episode over at weddingdjschool.com/podcast. Find the appropriate episode to download the PDF, or you can text Wedding DJ to 44222. That's Wedding DJ to 44222. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. So glad that you could make it, and we'll see you next time.